Hello, I am President Ulysses S. Grant. During the summer of 1885, I had moved to the McGregor Cottage in Wilton, New York, to finish writing my memoirs. In that time, I had the opposite extremes of wanting my life to end the indescribable pain and suffering that I was going through, and yet more time to finish my memoirs. I was almost completed with them, and daily I realized that I am rapidly approaching the end of both. On June 20th, I had written Julia a letter to be found on my person after my death, expressing my desires and wishes of what to be done after my death. But here on July 8th, I find myself still here, still suffering, still writing. But I feel the end is near for both my life and the book. I wrote Julia another letter to somewhat amend the first. I should like to share that letter with you. Mount McGregor, New York, July 8th, 1885. My dearest wife, in memorandums which will be found with Fred or on my person will be found a number of little bequests which I have expressed a wish might be paid out of the proceeds of my book, should the proceeds be sufficient without curtailing the amounts to my children too much. In one of those memorandums, I have provided for the payment in part to the members of my family what was due them by Fred. I now withdraw what I said about Mrs. Corbin and substitute the following. Pay to Mrs. Jenny Grant Corbin $25,000 as fast as the receipts will justify. So long as you keep house, I suggest and strongly recommend that you have Jenny with you as much as possible. She will be a great help and comfort to you and no trouble. I advise at the same time that you do not keep house for the purpose of having a house when you can make someone else a home. Only keep house because you will feel more comfortable in doing so. Besides the little behests I have made, I feel I would like to give your brother Fred $500 and advise that you help Emma in a limited way. For the last few days, although my suffering has not been as intense as heretofore, that my end is approaching rapidly. I am sure I will never leave Mount McGregor alive. I pray God, however, that it may be spared to complete the necessary work upon my book. Should I die, there will be a funeral and a breakup here. The review of the book for the printers suspended until fall. The subscriptions are so large that it cannot be got out at the stipulated times, even if there is no detention. But for these considerations, I would welcome the arrival of the messenger of peace. The earlier, the better. Should my career be closed at an earlier day, I would be very glad if the boys would make arrangements to retain quarters here and go on with their work. Your loving and affectionate husband, U.S. Grant. This letter may be found in the papers of Ulysses S. Grant.